after watching that. I didn't realize we actually kissed that much.
Neither did I. Oh, well, at least they had a lot of fun.
Hello, Burbank! Is it bigger this year, or is it my imagination? How many first time?
Oh, wow, good
Wow.
for you. Excellent. Right, so there it is.
Right then, here we are. Welcome to... Yes. Oh, now we got to adjust it again.
Yeah. I got to remember to put my legs together. This is why I loved playing... This is why I loved playing Aeryn for so many years. I didn't have to pretend to be a lady.
Not even going near that one.
I don't know what you mean.
We like the stance.
Pretty smart suggestion, though. You got a smart audience. You always knew that. All right.
Right then, everybody got the photos? Just get it all done now. Oh, jeez. Be careful what you ask for.
I'm just sitting here awkwardly trying to work out what to do with my waters because I'm not going to be able to bend over at any point and pick them up.
That's my job.
This is why I have never worn skirts in my entire life.
Right then.
What you got? What have you been up to?
Are you going to sing?
No.
Come on. A fine romance
One.
with no kisses.
No.
No.
That was it took the life out of me last year. Sort of practically collapsed off stage afterwards.
Yeah, but you're fantastic. Yeah.
And I made $1. I made $1.
Do we want to just hang out?
Yeah.
Or should we go to questions?
No, we should go to some questions.
Yeah, we should go to
We've been waiting.
I was just thinking, what are they giving away? Because the lines go... Free T-shirts! Yeah, line up! So let's go to questions.
Yeah.
I'm going to stand up, though. Can't take this sitting down.
Okay, the next part of the question is when you was writing Don Quixote and the scene where you discover that you're still inside of the game, or actually John discovers he's still inside the game.
Yeah.
Was that kind of a clue to us about Aeryn being taken and or Bila replacing her?
With Aeryn what?
About
Being
Aeryn being
replaced by a Bila.
replaced by a Biloid later on. Was that like a clue to us that maybe a kiss would reveal that she was really fake?
No, because I didn't know about the Biloid thing at that point.
Neither did I until we shot it.
You're a Biloid?
I was not aware of that.
No, it may have been something that the writers saw. I mean, a lot of times on Farscape, what happened was we would do something, and then the writing staff would take it and texture it with something extra. So that may have been the case that they went, "Ooh, I like that. Okay, well we can build on that." But it was, there's a nature in the nature of the show. There's a almost improvisational nature. When people tell you that some long arc show, which is 5 years in making, is planned in every detail from the beginning, they are full of it. It's not the way that type of story is told, and because basically what you're seeing is a first draft of a novel. So it's more improvisational in nature. They have an idea where they're going. They have an idea where they're beginning. Well, they know where they're beginning, but they have an idea of the end, and they have an idea of the middle in general. And the rest is textured on what works, what creative influences come in, and so it's sort of half plan and half accident and half luck. And I think in general we were pretty damn lucky that we found as much with the series as we did.
Cool. And that actually leads into the third part.
This is for Claude, right?
No, this is for you. I'm probably going to be burned in effigy for this one, but
Okay.
the sexual commentary between John to Scorpius, was that planned on purpose and continued over this entire series in Peacekeeper Wars? Was it done on purpose?
Was the sexual tension between
No.
John and Scorpius
No,
planned?
sexual commentary. Sexual commentary.
Did you hear that question?
Well,
don't
such
think I
as
couldn't
things
have.
like in Peacekeeper Wars where he says the things to do a man does when he's in love.
Oh, that, yeah.
But just little things like that throughout the entire
What?
series.
Well, you know, that is sort of sexual tension, really. You know, it's just kind of there. You're with a gimp. He's got a codpiece. You know, it's one of these things you've got to take an opportunity. And, you know, there's something sort of creepily sexy about Scorpius all the way through. Now, some people wouldn't call it creepy. Claude loves it. But
Yeah, I loved it when you licked my face.
there you go.
Thank you.
That smell
Thank
of
you.
dried spit. It doesn't go away in a hurry.
She's right. She's always right. Next.
Hi, I'm a fairly new Stargate SG-1 fan, and I'm looking forward to Claudia's episode coming up. I have a silly little question, though, but first, Ben, cover your ears, please.
Oh, it's about Michael Shanks.
It's all right. Now, you might as well go ahead and get it out in the open. I'll hear about it later anyway. I'll read it on the net.
I didn't think I could get more nervous. Okay, Claudia. Ben, Michael, who's the better kisser?
You know, some things get really good with time and practice. You didn't really need the practice. We just, you know, told everyone that it'd take a couple of takes. And Ben and I were sitting back there watching, and I was like, oh dear Lord, this is actually quite hard to watch. And it's sort of, you don't normally watch yourself kissing somebody. I got a question on radio when we were doing the junket for Peacekeeper Wars, and someone said, good morning, welcome, Claudia. So, Claudia, Vin Diesel, Kevin Sorbo, Ben Browder, best kisser. Which one? I'm like, well, good morning to you, too. And there was a sort of deathly silence, because I said, well, I haven't kissed Kevin Sorbo or Vin Diesel, but if I didn't
So I
say
came in
Ben,
second. Right after Michael Shanks.
politically, that's a very, very dangerous question to answer.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, but Felicity's boyfriend can kiss. Met him backstage. That guy. Woo! Yeah.
What, did you, Wayne, and he go out last night?
Has anybody else noticed? I walked in and I was talking to Gigi backstage, and I looked around and there was like a princess and if I kissed everybody in the room.
And he's worried about Michael Shanks. At least the poor guy isn't here to defend himself. Or is he? Surprise.
This is for Claudia. Someone asked Fran yesterday, what was one moment where she really looked at Ben and thought he was a great guy, and one moment where she wanted to kill him? And I'm sure there's multiple that you have, but just choose your favorite.
Sorry, one moment where I've looked at Ben and...
Just
Wanted to kill me.
felt like he was a great guy.
Not now.
And a couple you wanted
When
to
we were
kill.
shooting.
Okay, maybe a couple.
When he encouraged me to sing last year on stage.
See, I'm good for her.
No. That was really funny last year. It's like, oh, you know, we were just wondering if anytime soon you're going to sing and if you could possibly sing for us today. How do they know this stuff? It's like they're psychic. Well, maybe one day I'll do something and... well, no, could you sing now? I was so nervous last year, that almost killed me. Woo. I've never really wanted to kill Ben. I thought it was very amusing one day when I said something and he said, "Quit prompting me, woman!"
Oh. See...
And I told you that you would never live that down.
There are multiple times where she had perfect right to want to kill me. And even in the miniseries, the truth is that I can be a complete and utter jerk. I admit it. You know, it just comes out, but it comes out at a time, because I can say this. It comes out in a time where I'm either overwhelmed with how bad I am, or with the story that you're telling, or someone has, you know, just come in and said, well, we got to do this scene tomorrow, and we moved the schedule, and then somebody says something, and if it was Claudia, because I'm so comfortable with her, I almost never did to anyone else, but if it was Claudia, she would say something, and it was almost like a domestic relationship where you go, "Quit prompting me, woman," and you go, "Oh my God. What just came out of my mouth?"
And there was this silence, and I looked at Ben and I said, "Quit prompting me, woman."
Oh, wow.
And I said, "Honey, I don't know the way you talk at home." Woman. And that was nicely referenced in Peacekeeper Wars in the corridor. He said, "You better have my dinner ready when I get back up on the ship." And you saw my response to that.
It was good, though, because she always put me back in my place rather quickly.
We never fought, though. We got on really well.
No, we did not much. It was a good kind of fight.
Good afternoon to both of you.
Good afternoon.
Hope you're having fun.
Kinda.
My question is actually for Claudia, but maybe you can help answer it as well.
Did I get to prompt her?
No. No
No,
prompting.
Claude, what you say is this.
No, in an interview prior to the miniseries, you had said that this Aeryn in the miniseries was different from what you had had in the first 4 seasons. As an actor, how was that challenging to you to have a character that you were so familiar with not be as recognizable to you? And how did you overcome it?
It was more the fact that great efforts had been made to make sure, from David Kemper and everyone, that Aeryn was a genuine warrior. So whenever she was involved in the storytelling, the decisions she made, the way that she acted, she needed to behave the way a soldier would, someone who has been bred and born into that role. So she was always a soldier first and a woman child second. And so that was really an interesting development for Aeryn. It was the signal to me that she was finally, John, obviously her relationship with John and being able to fall in love finally and allow herself to be in love helped her to become a woman. But I think that cycle, that aspect of it is completed when you see her having to, to become a mother herself. And it was more, I wasn't sure how it was going to manifest in the story, and we weren't sure what her attitude would be or should be. And Andrew Prowse and I talked about it at one point. We both said, we think she should be very irritated by the pregnancy. It should be driving her crazy. Because even though she is developing, I think her journey should be that really she just can't stand this hindrance to her usual ability to be really dexterous and very physically, capable. And then to have that flip so that once the baby's born, I always had her subconsciously stroking the baby. You always see her when John, as I was saying before on Watch Farscape, he's making his deals with the 2 devils, and Aeryn's just standing there in the background, just quietly being at one with the child. And that I wanted it to be an appendage, like an extra arm, that once it's there, she's instantly a very good mother. I read an article recently, someone was saying that you are the mother I think Meryl Streep said it, that you are the mother you're going to be before you actually become a mother. So there's something inherent inside us as women that, you know, connected to our personality will determine what sort of mother we are. And I liked the idea of Aeryn actually instinctively being a good mom. So it was more the thought of, you know, I'm about to tackle a different Aeryn. Once I got into it, I realized it was the same old Aeryn. She was grumpy and feisty, and shooting made her feel better. Thank you.
Quit prompting me, boy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Hi. Leave it alone. The NICU nurse took my question for Claudia, but as another birth professional, I would like to say thank you for producing a TV birth that did not make me want to throw something at the TV.
Oh. What aspect of it made it realistic for you? What did you appreciate about the way we did the scene? Because I'm interested to know.
There's nothing definitive. It wasn't cheesy like Phoebe giving birth, and it wasn't over the top like clawing your eyes out. It was just right. And just having attended births, seeing the dynamic between the couple, it was nice seeing the dynamic between John and Aeryn doing what they needed to do.
Well, that to me, I mean, it's always been the focus of my day at work. As Ben said, he would come to set thinking, if I haven't got anything planned, I'll just watch Claudia. I was always doing exactly the same thing. I was like, gee, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I'll just have a look and see what Ben's going to do. I did witness one birth, and a couple let me come in and have a look, because I was about to start on the country practice, and it was this first episode where she was supposed to help assist in the birth. And someone in the family said, come and watch the birth, they know about you, and they'd love to meet you and whatever. And it's a really strange way to meet. She was in very sort of final stages of labor, and she said, "Hi!" And I said, listen, if you change your mind and you don't want me to be here, I really understand. She said, no, it's fine, it's my third, and we were really hoping for a girl this time. We've had a lot of boys, and, you know, there's another boy, and then they had another kid, and I think that was a boy as well. And what struck me, what was so extraordinary, because, you know, I've only ever seen it depicted on TV before this, and, you know, there's always some comic thing about the men being useless and being forced out of the room. And what was so amazing to me was the love that this husband had for his wife, and how competent he was, and how peaceful he made her, and just looking at the two of them and how much they adored each other. Just regular people, nothing fancy, you know, no glamorous people on television. They were just normal people who adored each other and were doing something exceptional, and I was very privileged to witness it, and that's what I hoped that we could kind of, you know, do, that it would be more about us rather than me screaming and wailing. So thanks, Ben, for saving my ass on that one.
I do have a question for Ben. I read on the internet something about Green Lantern.
Yes, so did I. What was that?
I haven't heard anything about that.
Okay.
So, apparently there's a rumor that I'm up for Green Lantern. You know, Green Lantern, yes. I'm talking to my manager now, get on the phone. Apparently the Green Lantern's being done, and I'm perfect for it. I have no idea. I don't know.
Excellent rumor.
They don't tell me till it gets closer. They want to get my hopes up, just to be dashed.
Outfit. But actually, I was sent up here to ask a question. And the question is, when you were here last year, and you looked so great, you were so happy, and you said, you guys don't know what I gave up to do PK Wars, but you'll know next year. So here it is, next year.
I was getting married.
And so you had to skip that whole thing?
Really good timing. Great. And a lot of other things were happening at the same time, but because I'd been living and working in the States and only had a limited amount of weeks to actually go back home and organize the wedding, and at the last minute, Brian Henson had said to me, if you don't hear from me by this date, then it's not happening. So I went ahead with my life as if it wasn't happening, and then at the last minute, when I was getting on I think I'd already arrived in Australia to start the countdown, the final sort of manic countdown, and we get a phone call saying it's definitely happening and you need to be there next week. So, yeah. And I'd heard wind of it, but Brian had said to me, you know, if it does happen. So I didn't get a honeymoon.
But you did get married, right? You didn't give all that. Wet
You know, like
advice.
usual, I just spent all my time kissing Ben on set, so. My husband was real happy about that.
Well, the first time I met her future husband, he arrived on set to see a scene where we're sitting in a boat. Like, I'm Jamie, nice to meet you. Oh, I'm very nice to meet you. How you doing? And I'm just snogging his wife.
And he's such a sweetheart, and he's turned up to set, and he shook everyone's hands, and Ben was starting to get a bit nervous. He said, "You brought him to set today?" I said, "I didn't know this was going to..." So anyway, it was, more for his sake, and we were walking off afterwards, and he said, "Of all the days you could have, I could have come to set, that sucked." That sucked. So yeah, amongst other
Yeah,
things.
a little payback. It was good.
Well, we appreciate your
Well,
sacrifice.
how many times did my wife come to set?
Always, like
Yeah.
a beacon. It was like a homing beacon.
Hi, honey. Oh, it's just work. It's a tough one to explain at home. Even
It's a weird way to make a living. It is. That part of it, don't you think? That's the part that just makes me, I don't know, it's like there's a boundary. When people say, when a director I'm working with refers to me, calls my name, and he actually calls the character's name and not mine, it's like, dude, there's a difference. The character's here between, whatever hours, 7 or 6 and 6 at night or whatever, and Claudia's the one that gets to go home and live her real life. And if you have a note, why don't you give it to me and I'll pass it on to the character for you? When it comes to the kissing thing, it's that final frontier, it's that final sort of boundary that, when Andrew Prowse says to you, for the sake of this episode and for the sake of the story, and so that the serum actually works, we need to actually see you touching tongues on camera. That's a weird way to make a living. It is. No?
there are some jobs that have perks, and I'll let you decide what the perks are.
Am I blushing?
Were we answering your question? I forgot. Whew. Okay. Can we just roll that video one more time? Yes. Thank you. Next question.
This one's for Claudia.
Yep.
I know that you're... I'm sorry. I have one for you, too. So. We know that your part in Queen of the Damned was just, huge, and you had so many lines. But if you were offered it again to do, a Pandora movie, would you do it?
If I was offered the opportunity to play Pandora again,
Yeah.
well, that adaptation didn't, really hit the spot for anyone. It was voted the worst film of 2001. And I did see Jorge the other day, and I had a chat to him, and we would, yeah. Yeah, I think Pandora's a very intriguing character, definitely. So I'd certainly consider the opportunity to play Pandora again. The problem was that adaptations of books are very difficult to do. And to reduce something down which can live with someone as the experience of reading a book and then condensing that down to 2 hours or fewer, watching. Very, very tough to do. And they decided to amalgamate 2 books. So they were never going to please everyone, if anyone. And it went through so many different drafts. I'm hoping that not many of you have seen it because it's 2 hours of your life you'll never get back. It was, I caught a little bit of it the other night. It was, and Michael Reimer was apparently saying that in its most because you have to do different cuts for television, and he was involved in that cut, and he said, I think, or at least saw it, and he said it's one of the best cuts he's seen because it worked better in as it had been refined down, it worked better in a shorter format.
So the 2 books worked better as an hour and a half?
In this case, yeah.
There you go.
And this one's for Ben. When you sang the song Allison on Melrose Place...
Oh, God.
Did you have a voice coach?
have a voice coach. No, what I had was that they gave me a little earwig, and I sang the song, and then they went into post and they tweaked the pitch to make it so I was flat. I didn't have a voice coach. They wanted me to sound bad. He's got to be goofy because, all right, nobody knows what I'm talking about now. I did an episode of Melrose Place, and I played the guy back home. Now, as anyone knows, when you work in Los Angeles, nobody that is from anywhere other than L.A. is cool. They're all geeky, dorky people. And I played probably the only geeky, dorky character to ever hit Melrose Place. Everyone else is a spunk. They show me up. They go, we got you some clothes. I'm going to Melrose Place. I'm thinking, cool, I'll get some really cool clothes that make me look good. No, they dug up clothes from a decade before that were bad then and went, these are great. And I went, oh, man. And I had to sing a song. Yeah, I had to sing a song.
Sing it.
And no. And so, I stood up and sang the song, and then they literally went back in post-production and changed the music so that it made me sing flat. It was such a flattering thing to be in. They really, I mean, they have to work hard to achieve that on Melrose Place where everybody's cool and beautiful, and I come on and look bad and, or not. It was just good casting. They got the geekiest, dorky guy they could find in Hollywood, and that was me. No, it's fine, you know. Everybody needs a niche. That's mine, you know.
Thank you.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Oh, great.
As for Claudia, when you got the role, you knew it was going to be physically demanding. Was there any particular episode which really pushed you to the point of exhaustion?
Yeah, I was sick, had a bad flu. Out of their minds, I think. Thanks. It's new. Do you like it? I did it just so that you can do that. Thanks, honey. Oh, shucks. I'm always doing that to Ben on set. I'm like, you got something in your teeth. It's like gorillas in the mist.
It's true.
It's hot. It's really hot.
It's true. You come on set and she's going, hang on.
We've all had our moments. I mean, because we didn't shoot, past season 1, we weren't shooting in purpose-built studios, so it would get very, very hot in the sheds out at Homebush. And Homebush was always 5 degrees Celsius hotter than the city because it's a harbour city and it's a lot cooler down by the ocean. And so we did have one episode where everyone, we were all dropping like flies. That was the one inside the dome. And we had our winter travel coats on.
Yeah.
Like 4 layers of leather, and Anth went to hospital. Anth collapsed and was rushed to hospital.
Everybody had an incident at one time or another where they were rushed to a doctor, I think.
Yeah. Except me. Oh no, I got hit by a door.
See? and you got hit in the face in
I don't
season
remember
2.
that one. You should stop reminding me.
Didn't John Adams clock you in the face in the dark?
Oh,
when Tony
yeah.
Tillis decided to shoot.
And
Tony
like,
Tillis
okay,
decided,
okay,
it's
Claudia,
like, I got a great idea. Tony would always finish his sentences. He goes, we're going to shoot it in the dark. We're going to use infrared. We're going to do all these stunts, and there's like stuntmen going everywhere. And you guys will come through the middle. Luckily, I was strapped up somewhere being tortured, so it was easy for me. And so they shot in the pitch black, a stunt sequence, with
sort of, for all intents and purposes, dead bodies all over the ground in front of us. John Adams, whose makeup, he was wearing a helmet that had no eyes. So his eyes are covered.
They did that to him 3 times. Every time they brought him back, although you can actually see John Adams in Peacekeeper War. He's, yes, ma'am. Very good, ma'am. He does the Peacekeeper offsider to Greza, where you actually see his face, which is great. And he could see.
And there's a cool moment actually. It's quite chilling when Greza, I'm trying to remember what it is, and she decides they're not going to do anything. What? No. What's the moment they're both standing there and she's sort of been giving him orders and then, help me out. Come on, guys, you've seen it. He walks up to if they don't know John Adam, if they don't recognize him, they're not going to know what I'm talking about. But
yeah, but you recognize his voice. John Adams played Bikesh, yes, and then he played in Lava, in the Lava episode, where again, no, you can't see, and he also played one of the Luxons in Peacekeeper War as well. So he's everywhere. John Adams is everywhere. But you finally got to see his face, and he got to see, but everybody got hurt. That was the original question, wasn't it?
Well, in terms of, the question was in terms of getting to the point of exhaustion. I mean, definitely on a series on the season of the show rather than Peacekeeper Wars. But the great thing about Peacekeeper Wars was we knew that it was a finite entity in terms of energy levels. We knew that we could commit to a certain amount of time shooting it and put our all into it. And with a series, you've got to kind of pace yourself.
I thought that was the depressing thing, because by the time we finished, I was ready to start into the next season.
Yeah. A lot more of it was, we were pushing the edge a lot more. And if we'd had our time again, we perhaps, in the first episode when they're stuck in the cell together, that's when they would have done it.
Well, that was our topic of conversation. We were doing the cell scene, and we were talking about the dynamic in the relationship. And I turned to Andrew Prowse and said, why don't we just, this is really early, this is the first episode, I said, why don't we just have them sleep together now and get it over with? And then we can spend the next year going, we didn't do that. I thought it'd be really interesting, and Prowse goes, God bless him, that's a great idea. And Claude looked at both of us like, excuse me? I don't see this in the script.
You were just whining about the fact that you had to have your
not here. He's gone, right? Please, Rock. But that's sort of, trying to take whatever is the stereotype and subvert it or find an interesting angle on it, because the law of every series is you can't put the leads together. Once you put the leads together, the chemistry is gone. And basically we wanted to thumb our noses at what was conventional. And from very early on, we had people who were not only willing but anxious to do that kind of work. And look, we put them together in A Human Reaction. We put the two leads together, and they slept with each other. For those of you who know what that means. For those of you who don't, it was just sleeping. And but that's unusual. But after that, Claudia and I would sort of act like we were sneaking off somewhere to recreate the event.
Of sleeping.
And sleeping. And the writers kept telling us, no, you can't do that. So we just kept acting like we were. Till they killed me.
Thank you.
Hi. I have a question for Claudia and one for Ben.
See, they're being nice now. They're giving me questions. It's like, we feel sorry for Ben. Somebody think of a question quick. No, it's okay.
For Ben, I haven't heard anyone comment on this yet, but I was wondering what you thought the impact on the future of the show might be with the new syndication deal that's coming up for next fall. And if you thought that boded well for the show's future, since it would have a broader audience.
I've always contended that Farscape's future is larger than its past. Anecdotal evidence tells me there's more people here than there were last year or the year before. The number of people who were there to see us at Comic-Con grew exponentially. Most of the general population, when you say Farscape, say far what? This is the truth. It was a niche show which was on sci-fi, and look, most people don't even know that it existed, or otherwise. Syndication is where the original Trek finally broke out, and shows like Andromeda, which has a larger following.
And what? Oh.
And how was Kevin Sorbo to kiss drama?
And it's the show that Michael Shanks' wife is on. I know what you're talking
is
about
she a
now.
good kisser?
Dude,
Where's my car?
I never kiss and tell.
Cha. Yeah, and you know, most of these shows which are available free to air are, by their nature, they have larger audiences, and you're aware of them. So I think that as Farscape is syndicated, it will grow in audience, and I think Peacekeeper Wars indicates that as well. That there's still people who are discovering the show. They either discovered it on DVD. You guys know this better than I do because you talk amongst yourselves. Is the audience growing or is it getting smaller? So there you go. I don't know anything more than you guys know. It's a bit spooky what you actually know.
Yeah.
What's Claude's next project? You guys already know. We've seen the trailer. I haven't seen the trailer. I'm in the Green Lantern. I didn't even know.
And you were really good at it.
My agent didn't know, but he will come Monday.
I'm sure you've seen on the net, there's a lot of speculation about scenes that had to have been cut. You know, that happens a lot in Farscape. One of the reasons we love it is we kind of get to fill in the spaces. It's not all laid out for you, so easily. But I have a question about one particular one that I'm convinced there must be a scene that got cut out. In the very last scene, sort of the christening, John makes a reference to, and your mother was right, this will be your playground. But in the way it's said, it seems to reference a scene earlier that might have been a very nice, intimate scene about talking of the baby's future or how it will be or your fears about that. I don't know what, but the way it was said was as if there was a conversation we should know about. So I'm wondering if there was actually a...
Are you referencing the pointed way in which Ben turns to me and says, your mother was right?
Yeah.
Your mother is always right.
Yeah.
This is your playground. Actually, I think the way the scene is constructed, it's a reference to the earliest line when she walks in and she says, look at all these stars, they're all yours. And then I quip, no, except that one's yours. But it's about all this being his. And she says it at the beginning of the scene. It's just sort of an elliptical style of writing, which I kind of like.
For me, it was, I interpreted it was a man finally understanding his place. He finally got it. The wisdom that comes with fatherhood, just...
You're right.
I'm always right.
You're always right.
Thank you.
Quit prompting me, woman. I love you, a bushel and a peck. A bushel and a peck and a hug around the neck. A hug around the neck and a barrel and heat. Barrel and heat got me talking in my sleep about you. Next question.
I don't know if you remember me from last year, but at the charity breakfast last year, I presented you with a die-cast NASCAR
Car.
that I gave.
Yes.
I gave it to
So
you.
you're wondering who won the Cup race today?
I watched
Greg
it,
Biffle
actually.
won the race. Kurt Busch won the points championship.
Yes.
Jimmy Johnson finished second in the race. Jeff Gordon third. Damn, that was crazy stuff. Yeah. He gave me a die-cast car with Farscape on it, which, quite frankly, I thought would have been a brilliant idea to advertise the show. I had suggested it over and over again. I said, we need a NASCAR car with Rigel on the hood. Yeah!
Well, the reason I did that was because I know your family is into racing.
Yes, into redneck things all around.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, after...
Moonshining, trailers, dogs.
And damn women that don't prompt.
Woman? Better have my supper ready when I get back.
Anywho, after that from last year, I was, shall we say, encouraged to...
There's a car outside?
No, actually...
Man, it's painted a whole car. No.
Actually, the car is right there.
Oh, there it is.
I was encouraged to do something else, perhaps go a little over the top, and so here it is.
Check it out.
The entire concept was to be a celebration of the mini-series. So what I came up with was a miniature mini-series Mini Cooper, or as most everybody knows, it's the Mini, Mini, Mini.
It's the Mini Mini.
That's brilliant.
I want to see it take a jump now.
No.
I want to see a Luke Duke kind of thing going on. Boy, Duke's a hazard activity. No, don't do that.
No, with the money I've got into this one, no.
But if I put down a ramp and I get Claude to lay down, can you get it to jump over the top?
I had thought of that, but I don't think the car would withstand it.
Damn. Oh well, we'll work on that for next year.
Perhaps.
I've done a motorcycle.
So,
Great.
nice driving.
Oh!
It doesn't have a very large turning radius.
That's great. You're taking that home with you, right?
Most definitely.
Okay. Beautiful. Thanks. We'll be passing this around later. Everybody gets a chance to drive the Farscape Mini.
Well, I was wondering, with the long days you put into the show on the set, what got you mentally motivated? With
God, I thought he would ask what
days?
we were going to do with
Yeah.
relax when we got home. No, sorry.
What was it that got you mentally started in those really aggravated days?
How did we get motivated for the really big days?
For the long days when you're especially tired, and I get you guys didn't spend as much room in makeup as your cast members, but you know they were long
Says
days.
you. I took a long time in the chair. It was short in season 1, you know. Season 3, it's like get the toupee on, you know. And they stick that sucker on good, don't they? Come on, man. How difficult is it to go to that job? It's a great job. If you can't get up for that, then you got no business being in the business. You know, you have no business if you can't find the joy in doing the job that I had. And Claudia, how did you do it? How did you put up with it?
Every day, when I knew that I obviously had to get in the makeup chair hours before Ben. And knowing that shortly after Ben would walk in his leathers. I know it's shallow, but that was it, really. And I would kind of just go like this.
Excuse me, can I get that?
Do it right this time.
That's why I always carried an extra bottle into work. Here, honey. Are you thirsty? You share that with me? It was easy. Thanks.
He's thinking he's going to get a better answer than that.
He's going, I
Thank you.
paid for this? What kind of answer is that? He's 42, the meaning of life. The lyrics, you can have it. No, heck no.
Anyway, so
No. William Shatner sings. I don't sing.
If you look,
Does Michael Shanks sing? You know, Shanks is going to kill me. Like, all right, hold on. I've met Michael Shanks. He's not as good a kisser as Claudia. But he's a real nice guy, and if he ever, next time he sees me, he's going to pummel the hell out of me. He's going, what are you doing talking about me all the time? It's not my fault. For those of you, every time we say ADR, if you don't understand, it's where we have to re-record dialogue, and it's quite common in Farscape because of all the special effects that we have to re-record dialogue. So we got to the scene of the naming of baby Dargo Crichton, and I said, can't we name him something else? So I actually looped over Claudia's lines. I don't know if they show them to you, where they would go, and we have named you Elvis Sun Crichton. And then we have named you David Sun Crichton. We have named you Rockney Sun Crichton. We have named you Mungo Sun Crichton. Mungo fit really well. I thought that was the winner. They didn't show you that?
No.
It's because my accent was really bad. Just Dargo Sun Crichton.
So basically, that was time really well spent for you. That was for my benefit. Thanks. Oh, it's the journey, not the destination.
This is what happened. You understand, the ADR for the miniseries, I spent 10 days, 10 hours a day in a dark room with another guy. Me and Angus, we know each other really well.
Yeah.
And he kisses almost as good as Michael Shanks.
Not true. Just kidding. It was important for him to accept, and so, and perhaps at that. So for the first two marriages, when they, the wedding ceremonies when they happen, she's she doesn't really want to be a part of them, and holding a gun to Rigel and saying you're ruining my wedding is more for for Crichton's sake than for her own. But at that point with the wedding, I mean with the birth scene, I think she wants something to distract her. It's the epidural, the spiritual epidural. What?
It's a great answer. Oh! Don't!
All right, you answer the question then.
Why did she want to get married?
During the birth scene when the first two attempts hadn't worked.
I thought it was a good answer.
Oh. All right.
Americans do not have sarcasm or irony.
Talk amongst yourselves for a minute.
It was good.
I thought you were being sarcastic.
Oh, honey.
You've spent enough time in Australia to know sarcasm.
I'm not that smart. I'm not that clever.
Thank you. That was our first argument. And I was wrong. It was all my fault.
No, me. I'm sorry.
Speaking of rednecks, I'm from Kentucky, and Kentucky really isn't known for a lot except great bourbon, fast women, and good-looking horses. But Kentucky is the...
It's a toxic combination, isn't it, really? All three in a room together. Ooh.
Earlier
That's a great-looking horse. Come over here. That explains certain things about the state of Kentucky, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
The women are fast and the horses are good looking. Or is that just the bourbon talking?
Kentucky was the first state to officially recognize Farscape for its groundbreaking achievements and passed a resolution this year in doing so, which carries the weight of law in Kentucky. And they are also named me as the international ambassador for the state of Kentucky for Farscape. But
We take everything bad we've ever said about Kentucky back.
I wanted you both to have a copy of the resolution. But in regards to the miniseries, how difficult was it doing the press junket, especially dealing with so many people who hadn't seen the show? In particular, I saw with the one that Ben did on screensavers. And the guy was absolutely clueless. They didn't prompt him with any knowledge of the show beforehand. And how difficult was that dealing with people like that?
You kind of get used to it. You get used to going, I don't know how to explain this to you. We're just going to talk about it, and if anybody gets it, then they get it. Wow. How about the state of Kentucky? It was a general problem with the miniseries in determining what kind of story to tell, how to tell it. You know, that on a financial level, it would have been smarter to just go straight to the film. Most companies would have done that. Forget the story we're telling. You know, they didn't finish any kind of story in Star Trek. They just jumped to the film. It's sometime later, here's a new story. From a financial model, it would have made more sense for the company to go, because quite frankly, we had enough money to do it. We could have gone and done the film. But Brian Henson, Rockne O'Bannon, David Kemper, and the other people involved in that story said, no, we have to finish the story we're telling before we move to the next thing, because the most important commitment we have is to our audience. That is a remarkable thing to see. And so instead of trying to whip up some brand new batch of sci-fi to show people new, here's this brand new show called Farscape Mach 2. You know, they did that. So anytime with the publicity for the show, it was a really tricky balance, kind of going, well, we'd love for you to tune in, but quite frankly, I can tell you, you might not get 90% of what you're watching. You may not you may not get anything, you know. But Farscape was that way. It was a complex show, and you sort of wrote it, and what you didn't get, you filled in the gaps, and it took an intelligent and an engaged audience to watch the show, and that's you guys. So how did you deal with it?
No one asked to do any interviews with me.
Oh, that's right, you were out of the country. You did?
I did as much as I could from London. Ben's always the one that gets to do the fun talk show stuff, though.
Here's the truth. We were trying to get Jimmy Kimmel Live to have me on. And they said, do you have any hot babes? If you'd been in town, you'd have been on Jimmy Kimmel Live.
I was going to say, was I on his show? Because apparently I don't fall in with the parameters of that definition.
Well, it was that day they sort of went, you know, is he a hot babe? Nah, not a hot babe. You know, if you'd have been in town, you'd have probably done more than me. Okay. It's
always during sweeps, though. I mean, we would always find that whenever, and I, as an Australian, I didn't know what sweeps meant. And, you know, trying to get people who, you know, FarScape was on a cable channel. It's on a channel that's called the Sci-Fi Channel. And even though it isn't, you know, it's not just a science fiction show, you're not going to find it unless you subscribe to the Sci-Fi Channel. And now, hopefully going to syndication, it will be a lot easier for people to find. But it's a tough sell. So, and often in the marketplace, people are looking for the cheesiest, the easiest, the most obvious way to sell a product. And Farscape has never been any of those things. It's not easy, it's not cheesy. You know, it's unique. So finding a voice for Farscape out in the market has been really interesting. I dropped something. Thank you very much. See how it's done?
That for you later.
Okay. And they'd say, how do you feel? You know, they say that you've made it when you've got an action figure. How do you feel? And I was kind of like, well, I'm a mutation. You know, I got the crustacean stomach and the thing sticking out. Yeah, so I'm hoping that whether it's a new Aeryn doll or something else that I do, maybe I'll, you know, one day I'll get a pretty action doll. Yeah. Thank you.
You get the Aeryn birthing doll. Squeeze it and a baby comes out. Watch it fly across the room.
White stuff sold separately. See, I hear some people had a problem with that. It was really interesting. Brian was the one who was very he had that shot in his head for the longest time, didn't he? But I spoke to people who've had babies, and they all thought that was actually very beautiful. They liked that part of it, so that's why it's sold separately. You can choose.
Baby sold separately.
You can make up your own mind.
So, Shakespeare or Ben Browder? Who's the better kisser?
Who? Who was the first one?
If you say Shakespeare or Ben Browder, who's the better kisser? Michael Shanks.
Whatever. Oh, honey, ever since I started Farscape, apparently my lips have no other purpose but to eat chocolate and kiss you.
Honey, what did he just say?
Nothing.
It was private.
No, we have code on the walkie-talkies on set, and it's sort of a code based on numbers so that the assistant directors can all talk amongst themselves and impart, information. Whoops. I'm really good at this. I make it look like I didn't do it on purpose. And one of the codes is 10-100. So I was telling Adam that I needed to 10-100.
You didn't have to share that.
Well, you asked. Because I need to go pee.
You guys... Go ahead.
All right, I'll be back in a second.
Go ahead. So while she's gone, we should plan something really special for when she gets back. Yeah, when she gets back, everybody stands up and starts to leave. But limp. I don't know if everybody can do it, but that'd be good. Okay, now, does anybody have any questions for me? No, I know everybody's got questions for Claude. That's fine, but I'll take Claude's questions. Claude, you won't believe what you thought about that scene with you and Targo. Unbelievable. Anybody? Oh, they're all over here.
Ben, could you talk a little bit about A Killer Within? The
Can I
premiere
tell you
was
about
last
A Killer
week.
Within?
Just how the premiere went in Dallas.
I don't know how the premiere went in Dallas. I wasn't there. It was this week, and I was here cooking, cleaning, and writing. So I don't know. Killer Within is a movie that I shot in Texas, which with C. Thomas Howell and Dee Dee Pfeiffer and Sean Young and Giancarlo Esposito. And hopefully, you know what, you guys will hear when it's coming out before I do. So just send me an email, let me know what I'm working on next and where my movie's coming out. It'll be great. I can just pass it on. There you go. DVD will be at her house on December 1. Book your tickets for her house now.
Eating out of the palm of your hand.
I gotta
Yeah,
go
I
10
guess
100.
I deserve that. I deserve that. I'm sorry. What? Oh, he's really going. We're getting old and you just can't hold it that long. It gets really hard to answer a question when you're just thinking. All right, okay, so.
How about we all rush him when he comes in?
So what happened while I was gone? Oh. What? If we could have Michael Shanks sitting here when Ben gets back from the toilet, that would be great. Just put Michael's name here, Michael Shanks.
Do you think you could get this signed for me? That's funny. Well done.
It's your boyfriend. You get him to sign it.
Very good. Hi.
Hi. Thanks so much. It's really great to have you here. And I just wanted to say how refreshing it is to have actors on Farscape, and both of you really do it well in offering so much good humor, humility, and grace into how you portray your characters. And wanted to know...
Hang on a second. Hold right there.
Oh, Ricky Manning's choking.
Okay, you're up to good humor, grace.
Right, yeah. So, the question is with the Hollywood ego, you know, and how that all too often comes into play with series and television and movies, and how you stay away from that as actors.
They won't invite us in. We'd have huge egos if they just give us that big film. Be a nightmare. Look, Australia has a different sensibility. I can speak to that in Australia, the tall poppy syndrome, which means if you raise your head above the crowd, it gets chopped off, exists, and it's a sentiment. So there's an egalitarian approach to things. To the culture, there's an egalitarian approach. But the other thing which is kind of related to, the lady touched on the fact that it's an ensemble cast. No, it's not. It's all about me. No, but it is, because in order for a cast to work, you have to listen. And when you're working, you're focusing on the other person. You know, I focus on her. That's not, when I'm working with her, I'm focused solely on her. It's an easy job. It's a beautiful job. I like that job. But that's the essence of it. And so to go from what it was that we do on a day-to-day basis, which is focusing on one another, not focusing on ourselves, then turn around and go, gee, aren't I great? It doesn't sort of work internally in that regard, I think. Because you are. You're really great. No, really. You're great. No, really. We get hit again.
No.
Nah.
I'm just, yeah.
Does that answer the
Yes,
the
thank you very
question?
much.
Thank you.
Does everybody need a stretch or something? We've been going at this for... Everybody stand up. It's a 7th inning stretch. Oh.
10-100.
Oh, God, I stepped on Michael Shanks. Okay, so what do we sing? Take Me Out to the Ball Game?
Half moon pose over the side. Over the other side. What? Downward dog? Yeah, Ben, do you want to do some... No.
And... Okay, now limp. Claude, they all want a hug. Okay, sit back down and we'll wrap this up, I think. Should we wrap it up or should we just keep talking? I don't know.
Let these people ask their questions.
See, all these people have to... Anybody need to go to the bathroom? Now's a good time.
Yeah. Those of you who want to go to the bathroom won't be offended. Those of you who would like to ask your questions that you've been so patiently waiting, please do. How's that sound?
Now, while they're gone...